Biological organization. All living things are made of cells. The cell itself is the smallest fundamental unit of structure and function in living organisms. In most organisms, these cells contain organelles which provide specific functions for the cell. Living organisms have the following properties. All are highly organized. All require energy for maintenance and growth, and all grow over time and respond to their environment. All organisms adapt to the environment, and all ultimately reproduce, contributing genes to the next generation. Some organisms consist of a single cell, and others are multicellular. Organisms are individual living entities. For example, each tree in a forest is an organism. All the individuals of a species living within a specific area are collectively called a population. Populations fluctuate based on a number of factors. These are seasonal and yearly changes in the environment, natural disasters such as forest fires and volcanic eruptions, and competition for resources between and within species. A community as well is the sum of populations inhabiting a particular area. For instance, all of the trees, insects, and other populations in a forest form the forest's community. The forest itself is an ecosystem. Let us discuss what is ecosystem. So an ecosystem consists of all the living things in a particular area together with the abiotic, non-living parts of the environment such as nitrogen in the soil or rainwater. At the highest level of organization, the biosphere is the collection of all ecosystem, and it represents the zones of life on Earth. It includes land, water, and even the atmosphere to a certain extent. Life in an ecosystem is often about competition for limited resources, a characteristic of the process of natural selection. Ecosystems can be small, such as the tidal pools found near the rocky shores of many oceans, or large, such as the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. There are three broad categories of ecosystems based on their general environment: freshwater, ocean water, and terrestrial. Within these broad categories are individual ecosystems types based on the organisms present and the type of environmental habitat. Ocean ecosystems are the most common, comprising 75% of the Earth's surface. The shallow ocean ecosystems include extremely biodiverse coral reef ecosystems, and the deep ocean surface is known for its large numbers of plankton and krill that support it. Freshwater ecosystems are the rarest, occurring on only 1.8% of the Earth's surface. Lakes, rivers, streams, and springs comprise these systems. They are quite diverse, and they support a variety of fish, amphibians, reptiles, insects, phytoplankton, fungi, and bacteria. Terrestrial ecosystems, also known for their diversity, are grouped into large categories called biomes, such as tropical rainforests, savannas, deserts, coniferous forests, deciduous forests, and tundra. Grouping these ecosystems into just a few biome categories obscures the great diversity of the individual ecosystems within them. Environment and environmental science. We will discuss about it. The word environment describes the living and non-living surroundings relevant to organisms. It incorporates physical, chemical, and biological factors and processes that determine the growth and survival of organisms, populations, and communities. All these components fit within the ecosystem concept as a way to organize all of the factors and processes that make up the environment. The ecosystem includes organisms and their environment within a specific area. Today, human activities influence all of the Earth's ecosystems. Environmental science studies all aspects of the environment in an interdisciplinary way. This means that it requires the knowledge of various other subjects, including biology, chemistry, physics, statistics, microbiology, biochemistry, geology, economics, law, sociology, etc. It is a relatively new field of study that has evolved from integrated use of many disciplines. Environmental engineering is one of the fastest growing and most complex disciplines of engineering. Environmental engineers solve problems and design systems using knowledge of environmental concepts and ecology, thereby providing solutions to various environmental problems. Environmentalism, in contrast, is a social movement through which citizens are involved in activism to further the protection of environmental landmarks and natural resources. This is not a field of science, but incorporates some aspects of environmental knowledge to advance conservation and sustainability efforts. Sustainability and sustainable development. In 1983, the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution that established the Special Commission on the Environmental Perspective to the year 2000 and beyond. Their charge was A. To propose long-term environmental strategies for achieving sustainable development to the year 2000 and beyond. B. To recommend ways in which concern for the environment may be translated into greater cooperation among developing countries and between countries at different stages of economic and social development and lead to the achievement of common and mutually supportive objectives which take account of the interrelationships between people, resources, environment, and development. C. To consider ways and means by which the international community can deal more effectively with environmental concerns in light of the other recommendations in its report. D. To help define shared perceptions of long-term environmental issues and of the appropriate efforts needed to deal successfully with the problems of protecting and enhancing the environment. A long-term agenda for action during the coming decades and aspirational goals for the world community, taking into account the relevant resolutions of the session of a special character of the Governing Council in 1982. Although the report did not technically invent the term sustainability, it was the first credible and widely disseminated study that used this term in the context of the global impacts of humans on the environment. Its main and often quoted definition refers to sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The report uses the terms sustainable development, sustainable, and sustainability interchangeably, emphasizing the connections among social equity, economic productivity, and environmental quality. Depiction of the sustainability paradigm in its terms of its three main components, showing various intersections among them. Examples of sustainable development include sustainable agriculture, which is agriculture that does not deplete soils faster than deform and does not destroy the biodiversity of the area. Sustainable farming and ranching do not reduce the amount of healthy soil, clean water, genetic diversity of crop plants and animals. Maintaining as much ecological biodiversity as possible in the ecosystem is essential to long-term crop and livestock production. The global perspective. The solution to most environmental problems requires a global perspective. Human population size has now reached a scale where the environmental impacts are global in scale and will require multilateral solutions. As we do so, we should keep in mind that the set of environmental, regulatory, and economic circumstances common in the United States are not constant throughout the world. Each country must initiate in implementing regulations for the sake of environment to sustain the future environment along the needs of the country.